One day, Elias found it, an old leather-bound book. Its pages were yellow with age, the writing was faded, but he could still read it. His heart raced as he deciphered the words. This was it, the key to unlocking great power, power beyond imagination. Little did Elias know his discovery would be his doom. The book spoke of a spirit, a dark entity. It was called the One. Elias thought he could control it. He was wrong, so very wrong, and soon the whole world would know the consequences of his mistake. Elias couldn't wait. He packed his bags, grabbed the book, and headed to an old cabin in the woods. It was the perfect place, quiet, isolated, no one to disturb him. He arrived as the sun was setting. The forest was dark, foreboding, but Elias didn't notice. His mind was on the ritual. Inside the cabin he got to work. Candles were lit, symbols drawn on the floor. The air grew thick with incense. Elias began to chant. His voice echoed in the empty room. The flames flickered, shadows danced on the walls. Something was happening. Elias as Elias. Suddenly the temperature dropped. I could see my breath. The candles went out. All at once, darkness engulfed me. I felt a presence. Cold, ancient, malevolent. This was the One, but it wasn't under my control, not at all. I screamed, but no one could hear me. The spirit consumed him, body and soul. When the sun rose the next day, Elias was gone. But something else remained, something evil. The cabin had a new resident, and the forest had a new master. The One was free. Days passed, weeks. The cabin stood silent, but it wasn't empty. Strange things began to happen. Hikers reported odd noises. Ghostly figures in the windows. Animals avoided the area. The forest felt wrong, tainted. Local legends grew. People whispered about the cabin. They said it was haunted, cursed. Some brave souls ventured close. They never stayed long. The feeling of being watched was too strong. The air too cold, the silence too oppressive. Inside, the One grew stronger. It fed on fear, on darkness, on the life force of the forest. The walls of the cabin oozed malice. Furniture moved on its own. Shadows took on a life of their own. It was a place of nightmares. But the One wasn't content to stay confined. It wanted more fear, more victims. Its influence spread through the forest like a cancer, growing, consuming, waiting for unwary visitors, and soon they would come. The forest changed. Trees grew twisted. Leaves turned black. The air became thick with fog. Even on sunny days, birds stopped singing, small animals disappeared. The woods were silent, except for the whispers, always the whispers. Locals avoided the area. They knew better, but outsiders still came. Campers, hikers, thrill-seekers. They'd enter the forest full of excitement, adventure in their eyes, but they'd leave changed, if they left at all. Rangers found abandoned campsites. Tents slashed open, belongings scattered, no signs of struggle, just emptiness. Search parties were organized, but they found nothing. It was as if people simply vanished into thin air. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. They called to people, lured them deeper into the woods, closer to the cabin, closer to the One. The spirit was hungry, always hungry, and the forest was its hunting ground. It was supposed to be fun, just a weekend getaway, 5 friends, a cabin in the woods. What could go wrong?
They arrived on Friday evening, laughing, joking, unaware of the danger.
The cabin seemed perfect, rustic, charming, a little creepy, but that just added to the excitement.
As night fell, things changed. The temperature dropped unnaturally fast. Windows rattled for no reason. Shadows moved when no one was looking.
The friends huddled together. Nervous laughter turned to worried whispers. Something wasn't right.
Then the noises started. Scratching at the walls, footsteps on the roof, voices calling their names from the forest.
Each friend saw things, terrible things, but when they tried to describe them, the words wouldn't come. Fear paralyzed them. Morning couldn't come fast enough.
But when it did, it brought no relief. 2 friends were missing, no trace, no clue, just gone.
The survivors fled, terrified, forever changed. They told their story, but who would believe them? The One had claimed more victims, and it was far from satisfied. The disappearances continued, more frequent now. A jogger on a morning run never returned. A couple on a picnic vanished without a trace. A team of researchers gone in a single night. The police were baffled. No bodies, no evidence, just an ever-growing list of missing persons. Families demanded answers. News crews arrived. They set up cameras, interviewed locals, but strange things happened to their equipment. Batteries drained instantly. Footage became corrupted. Reporters experienced nightmares, waking and sleeping. Many left, refusing to return. Those who stayed in the area changed. They became paranoid, jumpy, always looking over their shoulders. Some claimed to hear whispers, to see things in the corner of their eyes. The fear spread like a disease, infecting everyone it touched. The One grew stronger with each victim. Its influence expanded beyond the forest into nearby towns. People reported seeing strange figures in their homes, in their dreams. No one felt safe anymore. The terror was spreading, and there seemed to be no way to stop it. The cabin became a beacon of evil, visible for miles. A dark aura surrounded it. Animals fled at the sight. Birds fell from the sky if they flew too close. The ground around it turned black, dead. Nothing would grow there. Inside, reality warped. Rooms shifted, expanded, contracted, defying physics. Time moved differently. Minutes could be hours or days. The walls bled, the floor breathed. It was a place of madness, a place where the One ruled supreme. The spirit's power grew beyond the cabin. It could reach out, touch minds, even from a distance. People in nearby towns had visions. Terrible nightmares. Some went mad, others became servants of the One, luring more victims to the forest. Authorities were helpless. They tried to cordon off the area, but their efforts were futile. The One couldn't be contained. It was too strong now, too hungry. The situation seemed hopeless. But unknown to the spirit, a new player was about to enter the game. Sarah was different, a historian with a secret. She knew about the occult, about entities like the One. When she heard the stories, she knew this was her chance to put her knowledge to use, to save lives. She packed her bags and headed to the forest. People tried to stop her. They begged her not to go.
But I was determined. I'd spent years preparing for this, studying ancient texts, learning forgotten rituals. I wasn't going in blind, like Elias had. I was ready, or so I thought.
As she entered the forest, Sarah felt it. The wrongness, the evil. It was overwhelming, but she pressed on, towards the cabin, towards the One. She wasn't alone. A few brave volunteers joined her. They were scared, but they trusted Sarah. They had to try. The closer they got, the harder it became. The air thickened. Breathing was difficult. Strange visions assaulted them, but Sarah's will was strong. She led them on, to face the darkness, to confront the One. The final battle was about to begin. Sarah collapsed. The battle was over. They had won, but at what cost? S2. Media, eerie atmosphere with a defeated but banished figure. The One was defeated, not destroyed, but banished, weakened. Narrator. Media. Violent reaction of nature with shaking ground and uprooted trees. The One reacted violently. The ground shook. Trees uprooted themselves. The sky turned black. It knew it was in danger. For the first time in ages, it felt fear. Sarah's voice grew louder, more confident. The spirit's attacks intensified. Volunteers screamed. Some fell. But the circle held. Hours passed, or maybe days. Time had no meaning here. Sarah's voice was hoarse, her body weak, but her spirit was strong. The volunteers were exhausted, pushed beyond human limits, but they didn't give up. They couldn't. Too much was at stake. Finally, something changed. The darkness receded, the air cleared. A terrible scream echoed through the forest. S2, media, receding darkness with a forest clearing and ancient rituals. I began the ritual. Ancient words filled the air. The volunteers formed a circle, protecting me, fighting their own fears. Narrator, media, volunteers forming protective circle in a pulsing evil cabin. The cabin loomed before them, pulsing with evil energy. Sarah took a deep breath. This was it. No turning back now. The sun rose on a changed forest. The evil was gone, but so was the life. Trees stood bare. The ground was ash. No birds sang. No animals rustled in the undergrowth. It was a place of death, a scar on the land. Sarah and the survivors stumbled out, changed forever. They had faced true evil and lived, but the memories would haunt them. The nightmares would come. They knew things now, things they could never unknow. The world would never be the same for them. Authorities moved in. They demolished the cabin, salted the earth, put up warnings.
But it wasn't enough. The forest remained, a place of power, of darkness. The One was gone, but its essence lingered, waiting, watching, gathering strength.
Years passed. The forest began to heal, slowly, but it would never be the same. People still disappeared there, not often, but enough to keep the legends alive, to keep people away. Sarah knew the truth. The One wasn't gone forever. It would return, someday, and she would be waiting, ready to face the darkness once more.